So we're going to dive right in with our first question, which I'm going to share with Nigel. Nigel, what is one of the biggest trends you predict we'll see in healthcare marketing in 2024?
I think one of the things that we'll see more and more of in 2024 is what I call the carification of retail, which is, more traditional tech and retail brands showing up more and more in the healthcare space. So when you think about brands like Walmart, Amazon Care, CVS, Kroger Health, Instacart, like all brands that you know and love and interact with in the rest of your life, they're all started sort of taking more and more interest in the healthcare space and becoming that sort of last mile of healthcare delivery. So I think that's going to be something that I'm watching very closely next year.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Nigel. What opportunities do you see in the marketplace for a healthcare brand to capitalize on?
Brands are going to start to do things that are going to look and feel much more consumer in nature. So just as, Nigel was talking about the carification of retail, it's going to go beyond that. And a lot of those same types of trends are going to move their way into brand omni-channel efforts and how they're engaging with audiences in digital and in real life. Make sure that you have done the work to really know your audience, their behaviors, the messages, and that you've got the content there to move them through their journey in a way that's going to work for them. Sometimes that can be challenging because, we can point at all these examples sort of in the consumer space, and healthcare does lag that a bit, but that is a huge opportunity for brands this year to really look to those consumer and retail brands to build best practices and experiences for their audience.
What are some of the best practices for healthcare marketers when planning their 2024 event and experiential strategies?
My favorite piece of advice is don't compete with yourself. And I think when we look back at some of the most successful experience, some of the most successful activations, they have a really pointed message. And that pointed message is really, really relevant to the audience that's consuming it. I think we have all been a part of a project where we have to collect a number of opinions. We have to work across stakeholders. We have to work cross-functionally. And sometimes what happens there is that the story gets muddied. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has to contribute. Everybody has something that they want to say and they want to show. But I think now, as our audience changes, as Nigel and Jamey both hit on, they're becoming more consumer focused. They're becoming more patient focused. We're looking to those industries for inspiration. One thing we should take is to be really, really pointed with our story.
What is the first step brands should take when mapping out their 2024 strategies? A lot of brands don't know where to start.
We have to be really, really intentional about where you place bets. And that means that you're going to have to look to where your brand wants to go, who you want to talk to, where you want to be, and then place those bets and be hyper-focused on those big, huge must-win moments for your brand. People are always looking to try to really, put numbers and metrics and identify our performance. So, prioritizing that to make sure that we're really able to show how we're moving people along in the journey will be really important to delivering in 2024.
Healthcare brands now have permission to show up in places where they haven't had permission historically. Back when I first started in the industry, experiential in healthcare was congresses, were trade shows, and that's about the extent of it. But we're looking at over the course of the past couple of years, healthcare brands have showed up at the Super Bowl. When we're talking about placing bets and showing up in the right places, as healthcare marketers, our pools are bigger now. The areas where we can play are bigger now, and that's so exciting to me.
How can healthcare brands be authentic in a space that's so full of marketing jargon, empty claims, a lot of brands trying to say the same things? What can brands really do to be authentic?
I think they need to be more authentic about where they show up, right? And where they show up now is on television with TV commercials that I would argue are not particularly authentic, right? So I think being more thoughtful about where they show up as a brand is probably the first thing they can do to be more authentic.
I think the biggest mistake healthcare brands make is trying to compete in the exact same ways as those more flashy and consumer-centric brands. The key is competing where those brands can't. Those brands aren't often saving lives or doing things to better health for all and impacting such a wide range of people on such a massive scale. There's definitely a chance for healthcare to be in there, especially in a very authentic and people-focused way. want to give one more big thank you to our presenters for all of the great conversation and insight today on our panel, and also thank you for watching. We wish you a successful 2024 from the Jack Health team.